Today we speak about sponsors, today we speak about Mercato, especially the strikers Mercato, because I'm extremely worried. I'm really worried that at the end of summer Mercato 25-26, we have weaker strikers than the one that we have in our rosters today. I'm really scared that instead of going towards A objective, the one that we are reading, Lookman, Osimhen, etc., we go towards not B, not C, but eventually D options. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. I know that I scared you. Look, I will give you the latest updates about today and later today's second video with Luca Momblano, where I will ask him about the situation, about the strikers. I want to know more because I'm really scared. Anyway, really fast updates from La Continassa. Cambiaso is running towards a starting spot against Lecce, and this is really good news because we know how important Andrea Cambiaso is for this team. Having him from the start, well, will make me actually a bit more confident because we are running towards that top 4, we are obliged. Well, at the end of this weekend, after Atalanta, Bologna and Juve that is playing against Lecce, we will know if we are already back in the top 4 and then everything is in our hand. But of course, we need to do our job first. Why are we speaking about Mercato? Because we know it and there is that special session that will be open before the Club World Cup from the 1st until the 10th of June, where some movements can already happen. Well, yesterday there was a special meeting, a Mercato session meeting in La Continassa with the management. They're already speaking. If yesterday we were speaking about the loans, Conceição, Kolo Muani, Renato Vega, well, some decisions will have to be made and they are speaking about it because you cannot make to go to the Club World Cup missing one striker, Kolo Muani, without any sub, missing a Conceição, missing a Renato Vega, so something needs already to happen there, and that's why they are trying to anticipate as much as possible. Really difficult, tough situation, because we know it at the moment. We have absolutely no certainties to participate to Champions League 25-26. Yesterday I told you about the loanee players, but now I want to focus on the strikers, because if for Dusan Vlahovic, I believe we said everything. We said everything in terms of contract extensions. He had a contract until 2026, so in theory, one more year at Juve. But we know it. The money, the salary is not sustainable at all for Juventus, and we can say that after Allegri, after Thiago Motta, and now with the first 2 games of Tudor, it's also not sustainable on the field. Dusan Vlahovic at Juventus, if you're looking at the moment that he stayed, if you are making a balance, a sum of everything, he didn't succeed. It didn't succeed. There were some beautiful moments, of course, but it's a player that, and for the money and for the performances, will not be reconfirmed. Then, of course, you need to find a team that is interested in Dusan Vlahovic, not only to pay 25-30 million euros so that you are not going in deficit with your books, but also someone that is able to pay him the 10-12 million euro, depending what he can agree with a new club for a new agreement. But Dusan Vlahovic at Juventus at today, like for example Gianni Balzarini said, 99.9% will not be at Juve 25-26. Milik is another player that will not be at Juve. Well, we were thinking that maybe this one could have been his last season as a backup striker for Dusan. He has one more year of contract as well, but Juventus, they will try everything to break the contract with the player from Poland, to actually not count on him, because that's something that we did this season and we failed. We failed since the first game in trusting the physical conditions of Milik. It's a pity because it is always a pity when players are injured, but that's a reality. So Juventus will not take again the same risk, will not do again the same mistakes. And then you have a third striker in our team, that is Kolo Muani. Fantastic impact when he joined Juve, we know it, he said it himself. Thiago Motta has been really decisive, but we know it. We saw the performances, the non-performances against Genoa because he didn't play. The few minutes where he was totally a ghost against Roma for Igor Tudor. Not sure if he is the ideal striker, and especially with the fact that he's not scoring since now a few weeks. The performances are absolutely not the same than when he arrived at Juve. Well, Juventus is really thinking not twice, but 3 times, 4 times about, do we surely go to ask an extension of a loan with an obligation to buy at 60 million euro. That is extremely expensive. If we are not 100% sure, we don't go for Kolo Muani. So today it's more a no than a yes, which means that at the end we have 0 strikers. 0 strikers. And I know that a lot of Juventini are already dreaming. And it makes totally sense, because if you are opening the papers, if you are reading the media, the journalists, the Mercato voices, well, you will hear Osimhen, you will hear Jonathan David. You will hear Ademola Lookman. You will also hear about Sesko. Look, starting with Osimhen, the dream of a lot of supporters. I never really believed it was feasible for a lot of reasons, we know it. The salary, if you stop with Dusan Vlahovic and you want to go with 10 million euro net, you're saving what? Nearly nothing, because Dusan is going towards 12 million, 10 million euro. Yeah, you're saving a bit, but not wow. So he's a really expensive player in terms of salary, and that's already one block. If you're telling me that purely the salary is a problem for Dusan Vlahovic, you cannot go at today. It's not sustainable to go for Osimhen. A second reason is a player that you will miss for the African Nation Club, and that's already a second one. And the third one, and probably one of the most difficult one, is to go and to speak and to negotiate with the team of Aurelio De Laurentiis. We know that it's extremely difficult, and the clause that exists is only valid for abroad. So Osimhen, I never really believed in it, even if the player is probably the strongest one of all the players that are linked to Juve. If there is a player that you tell me, Beppe, he comes for free, he plays for free, I tell you, go for Osimhen without any doubt, but this is not the reality. So Osimhen, the strongest one of all of them, I never really believed in it, and today we have some confirmations. Confirmation of Tuttosport that is saying Juventus U-turn, they are going towards Lookman. For what reason? Because they start to realize that Osimhen is not feasible for all the reasons that I told you, the one that I mentioned to you. Then my opinion about that, when I'm reading that, is it's the 9th of April. They are speaking about Osimhen, I believe, since weeks, if not months already. I don't think that you need to be an expert to understand these reasons, that today they are summing up this and this and this and this is why Juventus is not going for Osimhen, because of that. These are things that we were mentioning here on the channel. So I don't really or never believed in Osimhen. What are the other names that are reporting are the names of Lookman. But pay attention, Lookman is more or less the same story. Of course, much more cheaper in terms of salary, but it's a player that Atalanta will ask you 60 million euro easily. And you know it, when you start the negotiation with Atalanta, from our experience of last summer with Koopmanners, they will not start to negotiate. They will not give you 59. Forget about it. If 60 is the price, they will accept 61, but they will not accept less than the 60 that they put. So it's a player that at today I don't really believe. And also, would you personally take the risk after the Koopman results at Juve to go again with the Atalanta player now immediately? I would think also twice about it. Then there is the name of Sesko, but also here beautiful name, beautiful dream of Cristiano Giuntoli and a lot of supporters. But Sesko, they will ask you 70 million euro. So it's again the same story. Juventus, they don't have all that money at the moment to put on one single player. 60 million Lookman, 70 million Osimhen, 70 million Sesko. These are players, guys, honestly, and I'm really sad to tell you that, but that today they are totally out of reach from the normal parameters of Juve. And then there is another name, Jonathan David. The one that is the most feasible at today. Why? Because he's a free agent in the summer. Yes, there are some commission, there is some bonus at the signature. The salary, I still didn't really understand it, but if it is 9 million euro gross, which means 4.5 is feasible for Juve. Some people are speaking about 7 million euro net, where you are already at 14. It's a player that already this season grew a lot, and that's what I was asking for him. But the fact that he grew a lot, well, it's not only Juve that is interesting for him, but also some teams like Barcelona, some teams from Premier League. So pay attention, not only Juve is on him, because a free player is really attractive on the transfer mercato. And that's why I tell you that I'm extremely, extremely worried. Worried about the fact that at the end, if you take away Osimhen, Lookman that is not even a number 9, if we are really want to go into detail. If you take away Sesko, if Jonathan David, someone else is going for him because you're not even sure that you are participating to Champions League and you cannot push, but at the end, who do you go for? Then for real, we go with Pinamonti, but not Pinamonti as a backup striker, but probably Pinamonti as a striker, which would be a total disaster. That's why, guys, I'm extremely, extremely worried at the moment. Now, the beautiful news is that Juventus, they are planning to release in August, not a shirt that we will play with, but again, lifestyle collection, this time the Urban Purist, which is really, really beautiful, emotional to be honest. A preview with a lot of emotions by our friends from La Maglia Bianconera, that is showing us a collection with a tracksuit with a small shirt made totally of blue with some yellow lines in collaboration with Adidas. But the beautiful thing there are two. The first one is going back to the logo of the 90s, the one that I love, the one that I prefer, even more than the one of the year 2000. You know, there was a slight change in terms of design to already making it more pure, more clear. Well, the one of the 90s is the one that I love the most. What a beautiful one. The one that I grew up with, to be honest, the one that I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about Juve. So having it on the shirt is beautiful, on the tracksuit is beautiful, but on top of that, and probably that's the emotional part, the really emotional part, is that you will have the signature on the heart of Gianluca Vialli, referring to the 90s, but also the triumph in Champions League. Do you remember? Maybe not all of you, because not all of you were born, but in 1996 we won the Champions League for the second time, but also for the last time at the moment. So to celebrate 30 years of that beautiful win in Roma, we could go with the signature of the captain Gianluca Vialli. Beautiful, really beautiful. And then we finish with the last topic, but an important one. I told you, sponsored yesterday around 11 a.m. in the morning. Calcio e Finanza reported some rumors that Juventus is about to find an agreement with not one but two sponsors. People were asking for a sponsor. Well, Juventus could go for not one but two sponsors, and it's really, really crazy because they could potentially go back to Jeep, the one that we had since I don't know how many years, I believe 8-9 seasons before stopping this season, not working with Jeep together. But on top of that, going with a second sponsor, that is Visit Detroit, that is really famous for the car industry in Detroit, but on top of that also to promote the tourism of Detroit. Then I never been in Detroit. From the first rumors that I'm reading from people from USA, it's not the most beautiful city. I don't know, I just know it from PlayStation because I played a game that was in a Detroit, in a post-apocalyptic Detroit. That was a disaster, but I don't think that it looks like that at the moment. Anyway, Visit Detroit and Jeep. The bad news is that with two sponsors, we will not go towards having more money that we had with one sponsor, because the agreement with Jeep were 45 million euro. We know it, deals made when we had Cristiano Ronaldo. That is not there anymore, with the Juventus not always sure to participate to Champions League. Well, the sum of both of them will not reach the 45 million euro. Going back to Jeep could be seen by a lot of Juventini like, what's a disaster, you couldn't find, so then you are knocking again at your home, because Jeep is owned by Exor, the same owner as Juventus, John Elkann, and saying you are knocking at the door, we are not able to find a sponsor, can we please go back to Jeep? I don't think that this is really how it went, but that can be the thought of some Juventini. Look, I don't care. I don't care about who comes on the shirt, of course. In terms of layout, I like when it's really beautiful, when it's really beautifully well done. But that's not really my problem. As long as we find the best possible deal on the market, I would be happy about. Then Jeep, I tell you the truth, it's one that in terms of layout is really beautiful. Then if they put me like Thunder things because of electric cars, we can discuss about it. If they put me a big patch that is actually destroying the design, the beautiful smooth thing from the shirt, it's another story. But Jeep I like. We keep it in the house. It's a beautiful international brand. Then Visit Detroit, I told you, I'm not even sure about it. But now, pay attention. Jeep and Visit Detroit cannot always be applied as double sponsor on your shirt, because there are some rules. At the Club World Cup, first of all, if you want to announce it, if you want to play with a sponsor, you are obliged to play with it at least in the last game of Serie A 24-25 against Venezia. That's one condition. So that you already announced it, it's already official, and then you can play with it for the Club World Cup. Uno. Then in the Club World Cup, you cannot play with double sponsor. You can alternate one day in one game playing with Jeep, in the other game playing with Detroit, in the other one playing again with Jeep, and then if you go through, you can alternate like that. That's the rules for the Club World Cup. For the Champions League, if we qualify, there is no way. There is one sponsor only, so you will need to decide. Do you go with Jeep? Do we go with Visit Detroit for the Champions League edition? In Serie A, you could potentially play with a double sponsor, something that has already been approved in the past, I believe for Napoli, but also for Cagliari, Lecce, and Udinese, but I can be wrong. But these are the teams that in the past already showed double sponsors on the front. When you are looking at the designs, of course, of the first shirt, the one that is already a controversial one, with the pink, with the black, with the white, with the asymmetric barcode lines, well, adding two sponsors, Jeep, Visit Detroit, starts to be a lot, and it's a pity. Hopefully they will be able to let us choose, the fans, what sponsor do you want when you buy the shirt. Do you want Jeep? Do you want Visit Detroit? Do you want both of them? And if possible, do you want none of them? Would be smart, would be really smart. And I tell you, to go back to the 90s logo on that urban shirt collection, referring to the Champions League that we won 30 years ago, I'm really happy that someone at Juventus, they understood how important it is to refer to the past. That collection, guys, has been a hit, has been really a hit this season, not only with the third shirt, that how many times it was already sold out and they were obliged to do a production more, but also on the lifestyle collection for next season. The third shirt should again have that logo on a black shirt, this time olive black. And if they continue to refer to some elements of the past, I think that's really a really strategic, intelligent choice. Not only because it's the emotional part, but it can also increase your sales. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about transfer market, about the strikers, about the shirt sponsors, about the first shirt, about that retro collection. Let me know what you thought about it. Maximum of like. Don't forget, later today, Luca Monblano. Grazie, forza, Juve.